of the X-PYR race from the back.
Behind the scenes.
behind the scenes of the X-PYR, you know, the long tail of the X-PYR. We're somewhere over here, and the leaders are somewhere over here. So, yeah, just an update. I've been doing the hard miles today, man. Walking. In a race like this, it's really hard because you're not at the right place. And you can't drive to go to the right place. So, wherever you are, you have to make it work. And if it isn't where it's working, well, you have to do the hard miles and walk. So, this morning, we started on the pass between France and Spain. And there's always a battle going on between France and Spain. It's been going on for centuries. The air mass in France is always trying to go over into Spain. And it's a cold air mass with a lot of moisture and cloud. And it's trying to push through the Pyrenees and get to the Spanish side. And the Spanish side is trying to fight back with its own air mass, which is warm and it's got clouds that go up and thunderstorms and everything, and it comes the other way. So we were camped at that col, and I was hoping this morning the wind would be all light and I could just glide off this high point that I was on and glide down the valley. But of course, what happened? The wind was blowing over from France. So I walked up the mountain really high to try and get above the cloud, and I got out above the cloud, but it didn't really help because I could see the wind was pushing down into the Spanish valley. So it was pouring down the mountain that I was on, and I couldn't launch because the wind was rushing down and hit the hill. And it would have been dangerous to lob into that valley and then have all the turbulence and mixing. So I had to walk back down. So I already did a mountain this morning that I didn't use, which is very disappointing in the X-PYR when you put in all the muscle power to get to altitude and then you can't use it. So I had to walk down. Then I had to walk all the way out of that valley because it's one of these channels that goes from north to south through the Pyrenees. It's really narrow like this, and it's got power cables running across all over the place and a river at the bottom and one road and lots of trees. So it's not the kind of place where you just kind of walk up and fly off again. So that was really hard. So I had to do a long downhill hike on the road with the cars and the trucks coming past. You know, it's hard work. I did divert quite a bit and go down onto the Camino trail, which crosses Spain. And that was quite pretty. So I did longer distance than I needed to do, but I wasn't prepared to walk on the main road all the time. It's just depressing with traffic coming past you when you're trying to do an adventure in the wilderness, and you're like on a tarmac road, like wow, wow. So I went up and down a little bit more than I needed to. And I put in a lot of miles to get to my secret weapons site, Yakar, which we did, and we got there at the right time. The wind was on, the sky opened up, the thermals had just started, the birds were flying, and I got there. Courtney fed me brilliantly with chicken and all the stuff, so I was powered up. I wouldn't say I was rested. I mean, I was pretty exhausted, but I'd eaten and I was mentally ready for it, and I took off, got a thermal, and then I went and raced off with the thermal, and that was my big mistake. And I always teach my students to, like, don't leave the thermal in the first hill. Don't leave the hill in the first thermal. Take a bit of time to establish yourself and repeat. If you've got to climb, you can go forward and climb and go forward and see if there's anything better in the day to leave the hill with. But of course, I just got the first thermal and I left like, hey, I'm racing, I'm going for the turn point, and I just went off the hill, and that was me done. And I never got up over the flats, and that was big disappointment for me because I'd set everything up for a really good run. I was in the right place. The wind was strong westerly. It was rushing me towards the next turn point. All I needed to do was just circle in it, and I would have been past the turn point. But I couldn't get the next thermal. I never found another thermal that I could work. The wind was really windy on the bottom layer, and I made a mistake leaving the hill so early. So I've had to do some more hard miles. I'm now set up in a really good place, Sabinanigo, I think it is. There's a flying site straight out there. I'm looking at it. So I've got a, I don't know, 1,000-meter ascent tomorrow morning to get up to the site. Maybe 10 Ks on the road. And 3 hours maybe. So we're allowed to start at 7, 10 o'clock. I should be at the top of this thing. Then I've got a chance. Forecast is better for tomorrow, so I'm going to just try again. It's going to work sometime. So forgive Courtney for just chowing down. I'm going to chow down too. Courtney's been the main man chef, and Kerry as well. Kerry's been cooking up a storm every day. I've had absolutely fantastic support from these guys. It's been great. It's like wherever I need food and water and support and strategic advice, they're there for me. So I'm having a great race. I think physically I'm okay. I mean, I'm damn tired, but I'm all good. You know, I haven't got blisters or any kind of injuries, and my hike and fly system has been working really well. I feel like I've been taking the right food, taking the right water, all the systems. Like this morning I had my rain gear, it was raining, and all of that stuff has been working absolutely slick. But I just haven't had the right flying opportunities where I've been. And it shows a difference between the leader guys that are really strong on the ground and can put in the extra 20-30 Ks in the day, and it's getting them into different weather, and they're able to use that. And I think they're also flying in some pretty wild and extreme conditions. From the video clips I'm seeing, some of the guys are pushing it, and I've got a limit. I'm prepared to fly in stuff that's going to test me a bit, but I draw the line at some point, and there are definitely some pilots that are way beyond that line, and all strength to them. They're going for it. They're competitive, but I'm not prepared to push that hard for what is in the end a fun comp. It's more of a adventure through the Pyrenees. But I hope you guys are enjoying these live updates. Sorry I didn't manage to do anything yesterday. It's pretty exhausting. So sometimes it's a bit difficult for me to do live streams. But thanks for checking in. Yeah, Alan, I'm hoping for good weather. I think it's forecast better tomorrow. There's actually quite a few guys in this area. So I wouldn't look too much at the results. I don't look at the results. There's actually quite a few guys in this region. Like if I get a thermal and fly, I can pass quite a few guys. So I'm hoping for a good weather system. And to be honest, up until now, we've been beaten up by the weather in the Pyrenees. I mean, Courtney and I spent a week before the race. We didn't find much to fly in. I mean, it was, geez, you stand there and you look up at the cloud, and it's developing here, and it's just like gone up to, 6,000 meters, and it's in the morning sometime. So it's a very powerful place. The winds are strong, the thermals are strong, the cloud systems are quite complex, and they're always conflicting. They're like two sides of the mountain chain, and it's a divide with the two air masses. So yeah, it's pretty hard. I think there are days here where there are beautiful flying conditions, but the average, what we're getting when we're trying to do hike and fly, where we are in any random place in the Pyrenees, not flyable. So you have to try and find a way to get a piece of the day that is going to work for you. And the guys that are leading the race are managing to solve that puzzle or fly in pretty gnarly conditions. So yeah, congratulations to them. Cool. Thanks, Henneman. Thanks, Gustavo and Jim. Appreciate it. Yeah, we try and keep positive because it's the only way to keep going. Otherwise, you just sit down by the side of the road and cry. So, yeah, I prefer to, push. And it helped greatly that there was some refreshment. I'm not sponsored by Vol, damn! But I should be. You know, when I know this is at the end of the trail, you might have seen my track at the end of today from like 7 o'clock in the evening on. I put on a bit of speed on the road because I knew that Courtney had got to the beers already.
That's it. I'll save you one.
They were only 24, so I had to get here before they were finished. Courtney's actually a master brewer. He's got his own brand, the Bearded Llama. So look out for that in stores or wherever you can find it as he expands his empire. But he's brewing his own beer, so the Bearded Llama. Check it out. We'll have a party sometime with a big barrel of Bearded Llama.
Drink with Courtney, I reckon.
And yeah, Courtney's been having fun because he actually saw a whole lot of llama up on the mountain the other day, and he just took like thousands of photos. You'll see those coming out, and he's check his Instagram out, Courtney Door Photography. There'll be some beautiful llama shots there. So I'm trying my best to look like a llama because I thought it was just only fair that, you know, Courtney would have a llama to support, but it's not really working. I'll clean this off at the end of the race. It's just it helps to show the progression of time, you know, so you can honestly see that it's actually me going through the race and it's not just done in the studio with a green screen. There's Greg and the X-PYR. Yeah. All right, guys. So thanks for checking in. That's my report for tonight. Tomorrow, hopefully, again, we're going up a mountain and we're going to fly. See you then. Cheers.